Frederick Winslow Taylor, a man who revolutionized manufacturing. From science to speed, Taylor set the stage for Ford's assembly line. Before the world knew about assembly lines, there was a man with a stopwatch and a dream, Frederick Winslow Taylor. He didn't build cars, he didn't invent machines, but he did something revolutionary. He turned work into science. By breaking down tasks, timing the movements, and training workers like athletes, Taylor laid the foundation for something world changing. Henry Ford took these ideas and put them on wheels, literally. With Taylor's principles, Ford built the first moving assembly line and changed not just car manufacturing, but the way the entire world worked. This is the story of how a man with a clipboard inspired a man with a factory, and together they launched the era of mass production. Let's understand Frederick Winslow Taylor. Who was Frederick Winslow Taylor? He was an American mechanical engineer who asked a simple question: what if we could make work scientific? He is called the father of scientific management because he took something that seemed boring and chaotic, manual labor, and optimized it like a machine. What was Taylor trying to fix? In factories back then, workers did things their own way. Work was slow, clumsy, and inefficient. No one really knew how long a task should actually take. Taylor said, "Let us study work like a science experiment." How did he do that? He did that by giving some key concepts. The first one was science and not rule of thumb. Old way was just do it however your uncle taught you. But Taylor said, let's break the task down. Let's time it, measure it, and find the best way to do it. He studied how bricklayers moved, how fast people shoveled coal, how many steps a task took, like a scientist with a stopwatch. He gave the principle of right person for the right job. Old way was that anyone can do anything, but Taylor's way was no, match the task to the person's skill and strength. If someone is great at detail work, don't make them lift heavy metal sheets. He gave the principle of train and don't blame. Instead of the old way of figure it out yourself, Taylor said that train people properly so that everyone works efficiently. He believed workers failed because of bad instructions and not because they were lazy. He encouraged close cooperation between workers and managers. The old way was that managers plan, workers work, and no interaction. Taylor said that managers should plan and guide while workers execute with feedback, like a smooth team effort instead of top down orders. He also said that better work should be paid more, that is, the differential piece rate system. Instead of the old way of same wage for everyone, no matter how hard they worked, Taylor's way was pay more to those who produce more. He believed this would motivate workers to perform better, like bonuses for speed and quality. Time and motion study emerged from Taylor's ideas. Taylor's followers later created time study, how long should a task take, and motion study, what's the most efficient set of physical movements. They literally filmed workers and analyzed their movements like coaches studying athletes. Taylor left behind a great legacy. He revolutionized factories and workplaces. He gave birth to modern management, HR, and industrial engineering. He influenced Henry Ford, assembly lines, and even modern apps like Uber, which track productivity. Taylor turned work into science. He believed that there's one best way to do every job, and it should be studied, taught, measured, and paid accordingly. He treated workers not like cogs in a machine, but like athletes who can be trained, guided, and rewarded. to bring out their best performance. F.W. Taylor's ideas were the blueprint for what would soon become the assembly line, especially in Henry Ford's car factories. Taylor's vision was to break down every task into tiny steps, study and find the most efficient way to do each step, assign each person a specific task they are best at, and train them to do it perfectly, and reward them for doing it faster and better. In 1913, Henry Ford said, "What if we put the product on a moving belt and each worker does just one task over and over?" And the modern assembly line was born. Each worker did a single task. For example, tighten bolts, attach wheels, or paint doors. You were supposed to do the same task over and over again. The car moved and not the worker. Productivity exploded because of this. A car that took 12 hours to build now took just 1.5 hours. Taylor told the one best way to do a task, and Ford implemented it by creating specialized roles on the line. Taylor decided to study movement scientifically, and Ford implemented it by standardized steps in car building. Taylor asked for incentives based on performance, and Ford doubled wages to reduce turnover. Taylor recommended training workers efficiently, and Ford trained workers for one specific role. Taylor gave the scientific brain, and Ford gave it wheels. Together, they revolutionized industry and the world. And it didn't stop at cars. Phones, TVs, shoes, aircrafts, computers, all of them, even today, are built using Taylor plus Ford's legacy. Thank you so much for listening.